Wavves, Hideaway, album review. Let's chat about it. Hey guys, what's going on? John here from What's Spinning here tonight to chat about the latest from Wavves, perennial cult favorite of mine. Now, in the early days, Nathan Williams and the boys were toying with a lot of very dreamy, lo-fi, noisy garage rock that sounded like it was probably recorded through Nathan Williams' bong water. And at the time, I wasn't that into it. Still to this day, it's not exactly my cup of tea, but around the time of like King of the Beach, I totally warmed up to their sound. All of a sudden, Wavves to me had their sound down to a T. Instantly, they were weirdo, fuzzed out, half-stone slackers that had a real knack for writing super catchy garage rock anthems. They had one eye towards their surfboard and the other eye on really finely tuned pop music. And they succeeded with bringing the two together really well. Now, ever since, being a Wavves fan has been a little hard. Personally, I've always had a soft spot for Afraid of Heights because, truth be told, it was my first Wavves album ever. I just feel like they put together a string of really great, catchy garage rock and garage punk anthems. But their follow-up album, V, I thought it was the worst thing they ever recorded. This, to me, still to this day, is hard to sit through. Not only that, but that collab EP that they did with Cloud Nothings, which I was hyping up in my mind to be the next big thing. The exciting coming together of sounds for the year was really underwhelming. Now, You're Welcome, though, while a lot of people were super critical of it, I thought it had some really decent moments. Yes, it had a lot of very overly dazzled, very glamorous, soft tunes like Come to the Valley and I Love You on there, which, quite frankly, were some of the worst tracks that Nathan has ever put to tape. But for every track like that, there were tracks like You're Welcome and Million Enemies, which I thought were some of Wavves' best tracks since, I don't know, the King of the Beach days. Now, there's been a lot of hype around this new album. Nathan Williams has returned to the sound that got him famous. We have Dave Sitek of TV on the Radio fame on production. The new singles, for the most part, have been pretty good. Let's chat about this thing. Sound starts off with Through Hell, and truth be told, I cannot say no to this as an intro. I love the scruzzy riff. I love the production here. This, to me, brings me right back to the days where Wavves were constantly going through my headphones around the time of King of the Beach and Afraid of Heights. I mean, it doesn't have the rawness and the urgency of those days, but I mean, Nathan was literally playing with Jay Retard's band back days. It really doesn't surprise me that much. But for what it's worth, this has a rawness to it. This has a grittiness to it. It's very catchy. When Nathan and Wavves really hunker down, they are still masters of this sound. Hideaway, this title track, I can't say no to it. This is just the sort of half-stoned or completely stoned track from Wavves that I will always adore. I don't know, just listening to this, I feel like Nathan is just singing this from like a super sketchy California dive bar. That's where I want to hear them. It is so joyous and harmonious. I love the guitar lines, and not for nothing, Wavves haven't sounded this youthful in a long time. I could say a lot of the same things about Help Is On The Way. This sounds like your standard Wavves garage rock tune that just sat out in the sun for 3 or 4 hours and probably shouldn't have. It's fuzzy, it's all scuzzed out, and so freaking catchy, this hook. Like, I cannot help but just belt this chorus out every time it comes around. This is a sound that I've always really loved from Wavves. Sinking Feeling, on the other hand, is one of the sunnier tunes here. I love the bluesy riff. I love Nathan's very slacker vocals. It has a really different sound compared to the rest of this album. There's almost like an innocence to it in a weird way. It's also just a really great start track, a very easy to take in track from Wavves. However, Nathan Williams still has a consistency issue. He has this issue with really sticking the landing. We have Honeycomb, and like, why does Nathan continue to try for these semi-sweet ballads? To an extent, it does go with the Wavves aesthetic. I don't know, I just feel like, Nathan has this sound, this scuzzy, fuzzed out garage rock and garage punk that honestly, he does so well. This is really cheesy. And the lyrics, come on, it's like they learned nothing from the lesser moments on You're Welcome. And you know what? I don't think it's all for naught, because the second half of this track, when things get a little bit more rugged, it actually picks up really nicely. But then we have the blame, and for some reason Nathan Williams and Wavves feel the need to bring in a semi-alternative country jam, and it is really awkward. It is about as far as Wavves as you can imagine. And you know what? To an extent, they pull it off, but it's not for me, man. Not even close. I'm all for taking risks. I salute taking risks. This is Identity Crisis. And Caviar, which was a single from this album. I don't know who signed off on this. I think it's the worst track here. This goofball, throwback, melodramatic pop tune. Who thought this was an okay idea? Once again, did they learn nothing from You're Welcome? Truthfully, it's not the worst album. It's not even the worst album in Wavves' discography. As a matter of fact, when this album is good, it's pretty good. I don't know why Nathan just has this consistency issue here. Like I said, though, there's a lot to like here. I just really wish we could just get another classic album from Wavves. I don't think it's going to happen, though, at this point. Marine Life, though, I do really like as a deep cut. It's this sweet, light-hearted, half-stoned ballad that's just very joyous and very light-hearted, like I said. And you know what? It brings me back to an extent to like the King of the Beach days. It's so catchy, it's so instantaneous, it's all around where Wavves should be. And Planting a Garden is one of the best risks here. It's much more dreamy and hazy, which is right up Wavves' alley. And also, vocal-wise and lyric-wise, Nathan is right on point. So with Wavves' first album in like 3 or 4 years, they are trying so desperately to go back to that King of the Beach sound, to go back to their glory days. And for a good hunk of this album, they actually pull it off. As a matter of fact, the singles on this thing are irresistible for me. Consistency, though, folks, it's something that Wavves has dealt with, lots since Afraid of Heights. I know a lot of people weren't even into that album, even though I was, but ever since, I feel like Wavves have this issue. They put out great singles, but they can't stick the landing. And once again, that's where we are. The over-glamorous, corny ballads. Who signed off on those? However, I think that, a good hunk of this album is actually pretty decent. I am feeling like the lightest 7 that I could ever imagine. That's what this album is. But let me know what you guys think down below. If you like the video, be sure to give us a like, give us a subscribe, and let me know down below what you would like for me to chat about in the future. And until next time, have a great day, guys.